If you want a clear picture of how badly Sony has botched the PlayStation 5 generation, I'm not talking about sales of the console, which is at like 94 million, which is impressive. But in terms of first party support, look no further than the catastrophic state of their premier first party studios. According to recent reporting from industry insider Jason Schreier, corporate leadership at Sony is reportedly furious with Naughty Dog over their glacial development speeds and ballooning budgets. For an entire generation defined by massive droughts and a distinct lack of heavy hitting, platform defining exclusives, this behind the scenes panic makes perfect sense. Sony has completely dropped the ball on managing its top tier talent, and the cracks are finally showing. Sony's current strategy has resulted in billions of dollars essentially vanishing into thin air. Consider the track record of the last few years. The Bungie disaster. Sony burned $3.6 billion acquiring Bungie, only for Destiny 2 to stall and the game Marathon to face immense internal skepticism. The Concord embarrassment, of course, they flushed an estimated $500 million down the toilet on Firewalk Studios' Concord, a game so profoundly rejected by the market that it was permanently pulled from the shelves after just 12 days. And then we've got Naughty Dog's mismanagement. Sony has allowed Naughty Dog to waste years of development on a standalone Last of Us live service project only to cancel it entirely after pouring untold millions into that project. Now, Jason Schreier reveals that when pressed on why Sony is suddenly tightening the purse on multiplayer projects, internal sentiment boils down to total exhaustion with standard single-player pipelines. When an industry observer noted that Sony previously had no issue letting Naughty Dog spend 5+ years and a $300 million budget on a single title, Schreier directly countered, "Oh, they definitely have an issue with that." The reality is that no business can sustain a model where a flagship studio takes an entire decade to release a single original IP. Reports from earlier this year indicated that Naughty Dog developers were already being hit with mandatory overtime just to finish an internal demo for the upcoming sci-fi project Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. If a studio is grinding through crunch just to show management a proof of concept, the actual commercial release could still be years away. And I know they're promising this thing to be coming out soon, but by the time this game sees the light of day, the PlayStation 5 generation will likely be practically over. We're already getting that news that the PlayStation 6 and the PlayStation 6 Lite, the handheld version, is right around the corner. Compounding this timeline issue is a profound alienation of the core audience. Between public-facing developers consistently antagonistic toward the player base and high-profile creative choices prioritizing corporate activism over broad consumer appeal, anticipation for Naughty Dog's next venture is heavily fractured. This game is still going to sell really well because at the end of the day, it's Naughty Dog, right? But the lead actress in the game is like a raving activist. And we know that the studio heads have gone on tirades and rants about the video game core player. It's almost like they don't know their audience, the people who pay for their games. The Last of Us Part 2 rode a massive wave of momentum generated by the near flawless reputation of the original game. Yet, it still triggered a massive lasting schism in the community. Relying on past brand loyalty is no longer a guaranteed safety net, especially when a studio's next project is completely unproven. Especially this game. This game looks like a generic sounding space IP that is already generating controversy before a single frame of public gameplay has actually dropped. PlayStation built its ironclad reputation on delivering steady, high quality, generation defining single player experiences during the PlayStation 4 era. Instead, this generation has been plagued by canceled live service pivots, historic financial write offs, and flagship studios that seem entirely incapable of producing games on a reasonable timeline. Sony is finally realizing that writing blank checks for $300 million production cycles that yield one game per decade is completely unsustainable, especially running the risk that the game doesn't sell or that it gets canceled right away. They are losing their grip on the industry, and the internal panic that is reaching Naughty Dog is proof that the chickens have finally come home to roost. And you know what? It's about time, because I wanted the PlayStation 5 to be a huge success. It's a great console. It's got so much potential. It's got enough power. Certainly a better experience than the Xbox, especially since Xbox games are on it. But when you're a first party, you have to supply first party games. Most of the games this generation have been PlayStation 4 cross gen games, and other than that, pretty much absent. Sony is the dad that went out for milk and hasn't come back home. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. I really am curious to see, what do you think about Sony's management skills? Are they finally waking up to, hey, we need more than one game a generation from you, Naughty Dog? Or is this just more corporate fluff to, I don't know, see what they can pull off at at the risk of spending more money? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, hype the video, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.